Lately you don't feel like yourself.
In every C-drama story, there are always special moments that can truly shake the audience's emotions. Scenes that make the heart beat faster, bring an unconscious smile to the face, or even cause tears to fall simply because we are carried away by the atmosphere. In this video, we will recap 5 of the most memorable moments in C-dramas that successfully captured viewers' attention and left a lasting impression. These are moments that not only went viral but also became unforgettable parts of the story. So, prepare your hearts, because this emotional journey will take us through warm laughter, touching tears, and an ending that leaves a deep and unforgettable impression. At number 5, unforgettable fun and chaotic moments. C-dramas always have their own distinctive charm. The meeting between two characters that initially seems like a simple coincidence often feels like a thread of destiny that has long been intertwined. As if from the very beginning, the universe itself has been arranging their steps so they would eventually find each other. Then there's that small touch, perhaps just the brief brush of fingertips by accident, or shoulders lightly grazing as they pass. Such a fleeting moment, yet powerful enough to make time slow down and hearts beat faster. Even in silence, through nothing more than locked gazes, the emotions conveyed feel incredibly deep, more honest and more powerful than 1,000 spoken words. Viewers are given a subtle hint that this story is different. This is not a romance built instantly or forced into existence. The story unfolds gradually, patiently, like a flower blooming petal by petal. Each scene is arranged with a calm rhythm, allowing emotions to grow naturally without rush. The chemistry between the characters feels remarkably real. Their interactions flow effortlessly, laughter that sounds sincere, awkwardness that feels natural, and quiet moments that are filled with meaning. We no longer feel like we are watching actors perform, but rather as if we are glimpsing two hearts truly learning to understand one another. At number 4, when love faces its hardest test. Imagine how everything began from a meeting that didn't seem promising at all for a love story. At the start, their relationship was far from sweet. There were no meaningful glances, no warm smiles that made hearts race. Instead, there was only awkwardness, misunderstandings piling up one after another. Their personalities were completely opposite, like two poles that were never meant to unite. Every time they crossed paths, the atmosphere instantly grew tense. Rather than looking like two people destined to fall in love, they seemed more like strangers trapped in the same situation. Yet without them realizing it, behind every debate and small argument, something slowly began to change. The irritation that once felt so dominant gradually shifted into curiosity. Why did he act that way? Why did she always appear at the most unexpected moments? Small questions began to linger in their minds. The arguments that once felt exhausting strangely turned into moments they began to miss. The day felt incomplete without a brief exchange of sharp words or playful teasing that secretly made them smile. They started noticing little details that had once gone unnoticed. The way one of them spoke when nervous, the simple habits that used to be annoying but now seemed endearing. The glances that were once filled with frustration softened over time. There was a different pause whenever their eyes met, no longer fueled by anger, but by a growing sense of care. The distance that once felt so wide slowly narrowed, as if an invisible thread had quietly begun tying them closer together. And without ever truly planning it, each other's presence was no longer just a coincidence. It became a habit, then it turned into a need. Until finally, from a relationship once filled with constant quarrels, a feeling blossomed, one they could no longer deny. Coming in at number 3, love in its sweetest form. There were no more awkward pauses after short conversations, no more hurried glances turned away to hide unspoken feelings. Every misunderstanding that once stood like a wall between them slowly crumbled, leaving behind a warm space. A space where two hearts finally and truly understood each other. They no longer needed long explanations or dramatic confessions to reassure one another of their feelings. Simple, consistent presence was enough, sharing quiet moments, walking side by side without many words, or simply sitting together in comfortable silence. A sense of calm grew from the little habits they built together, as if the world around them slowed down each time they shared a moment. The looks they once avoided had now become a place to return to, a home where they found safety and certainty. Even the smallest touch, like fingers brushing unintentionally or a gentle lean against a shoulder, felt far more meaningful than 1,000 words of love. Not because there were poetic dialogues or grand music playing in the background, but because their togetherness felt real, warm, and deeply sincere. And without even realizing it, the audience was carried away too, smiling softly, feeling that gentle flutter in their own hearts. At number 2, when love hurts the most. However, like many love stories and dramas, The happiness that appears calm on the surface often hides unseen waves beneath. Just when the audience begins to believe that everything will be fine, that is precisely when the story slowly starts to change direction. Without clear warning, without any obvious signs, the trials begin to arrive. Not just one, but layer upon layer. Small misunderstandings left to grow. Conversations that are never truly finished. And that's not all. Other forces begin to take part. Fate that cannot be resisted, family approval that never comes, shadows of the past returning to haunt them, and life choices that force them to stand at two different crossroads. It is at this point that love is tested. Is it strong enough to endure, or will it slowly crack under the weight of circumstances? Because in every love story, it is not about how beautiful the beginning is, but how strong they remain when the world is no longer on their side. Coming in at number 1, and this is not the end. Where silence is no longer just an atmosphere, but a weight pressing heavily against the chest. Day after day passes without certainty. Yet it is precisely at that lowest point, when every step feels heavy and the heart is close to giving up, that a small glimmer of light appears. Not something grand or dramatic, but a simple hope that quietly begins to grow, signaling that not everything is truly over. The change comes slowly, almost imperceptibly. Time plays its role calmly, touching wounds that were once so deep, easing the pain that once shattered everything. Memories that once brought nothing but sorrow gradually transform into sources of strength. The longing that used to feel unbearable becomes a reason to remain standing, to keep moving forward even while stumbling. And unexpectedly, fate brings them together once again. Two hearts that had fallen countless times learn from the pain, understand the meaning of patience, and discover a new purpose in their long wait. It is there that we realize love in the drama of life is not only about being together when the world feels beautiful. Love is about enduring when everything falls apart. About choosing each other, over and over again. Because in the end, true love is not about who arrives first, but about who stays, and returns, even after a long and winding journey.
Something so subliminal about the way that your hands shake whenever you talk, and stare into space like you're lost in your thoughts, surrounded by your paper walls. Tell me what's been going on.